Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the SZR Winter Series, race number 5. We've got a new type of race out on Zwift today because we are on the Jungle Circuit. Now, I'm not sure if this race has been used in any races before, but we have never broadcast for the Jungle Circuit before. Joining me for the race today is going to be Mr. Rasan Bahati. Rasan, good to have you here from Zwift HQ. How you doing?
I'm here. I'm doing good as always. I tell you, I can never complain. Sunny Los Angeles.
There you go, right on. And this race is going to be interesting. We've talked about this course a lot, actually, as the races do take off from the gun here. We've talked a little bit here and there about what it would be like to have a circuit race on the Jungle Circuit, actually, and we're going to get it today. It's going to be a fair amount of climbing, but at the same time, I think a fairly tactical race out there. 4 races in. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the SZR Racing Series, it's actually a series of 12 races, and your best 10 out of the 12 races count towards the SZR Winter Series. We are currently 4 races in. This is the 5th race. And right now in the A category, we do have Carl Teselius for Team SC leading things out in the A category. Benoit Raccadat and Tom Grinshaw rounding out the top 3 there. B category, PA Person, Ricard Sorman, and then Tony Axelson in that B category. In the C category, Dennis Westman, Mikhail Lesniewski, and then it will be Morten Hoff Pedersen. Then in the D category, Tobias Lund, K. Roar Harila, and it will be Emiliano from the PTZ team there. That is the category's current leading, each category, who's leading in them. And we'll try and keep track of each one of those riders as we go through the day here. I am seeing the infamous now at this point, after his dog ate his homework and his computer, Mike Davis is out on course there, and I think doing fairly well in the series. They're 5th overall. 40 is currently sitting in 4th overall. If he is out on course, I'll be watching out for him as one of the threats in that A category. But Teselius here, right along with Davis, playing it fairly smart at this point. And I think they're going to keep it pretty calm, Rasan, as there is a slight little bit of a climb into the Jungle Circuit, actually, before things really get going on the circuit. So there's that initial, I think, punch where people are going to be looking to create the separations.
Yeah, you talked about 40, 35 points. Mike Davis, 5th place, 33 points. Tight race between those two. And then you look at 2nd and 3rd, Raccadat and Grimshaw separated by 1 point also. So yeah, it's going to be a good race. Don't know much about this course, so definitely going to be paying attention to the first lap and see where the places are within the course that riders can go on the attack and get rid of some of the dead weight. A circuit race would be something that I would be definitely interested in if I was racing short, punchy efforts. Too bad I can't use all my crit tactics in Zwift racing, but yeah, I like the idea of having a circuit race today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting having a completely different type of course too. I think that's going to change up a few of the tactics. You know, the Jungle Circuit out in that Mayan area, you're going to get to see some of the some of the most beautiful scenery actually in Zwift that was created. Some of the graphics, and they're pretty amazing. You know, that the old Mayan ruins and the gigantic valley that they are in are pretty cool. The drawbridge, or the bridge, the rope bridge, excuse me, that they do cross as well. Pretty cool areas. Now, the climb on the circuit, though, is punchy. It isn't consistent. I mean, it's consistently a false flat, but it kicks up to 4 to 5% at times. Then right at the end, you do have the rope bridge, which does have a fairly steep percentage to climb out of, which I think up to 7 or 8. But there isn't anything that's extremely intense on the gradient, but at the same time, they do have some sections that are a little bit punchier. So it's going to be interesting to see how the racers do respond to that. So so we do have a couple of comments coming through here. Matt Brandt's coming through. I should be working right now. Matt Brandt is in the house. Good to see Matt. Thanks for tuning in, Matt. We also got Sherry Foxworthy saying, you guys got me hooked on this. Good to have you here. Sounds like I'm coming through like a little bit of a robot for some reason. No idea why my mic is swapped up on that. We're going to see if we can solve the situation there as quickly as possible. But moving forward, though, we do see that Pearson here. This is a different Pearson, though. It looks like Jared Pearson here from the SZR team, or right in the SZR race here, not part of the SZR team, not the series leader, though, that we're looking for. P.A. Pearson in that beer category. Yostig is there. F. Arbin as well. I did see Quentin LeFay out on course. One of the guys, for one of our commentators actually decided to jump into the race. We'll see how he ends up for the day here on the racing. I do know he raced the CVR yesterday as well, so we'll see if he is a threat out on the jungle circuit here. So the climb's about to start here. What are racers thinking, you think, here at this point? It's a little bit of attacking, I would think, to try to break things apart prior, or is it going to be all reservation till they actually hit the circuit? Circuit racing something different than regular kart racing?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Efforts are a little bit longer winded, but it's funny, you know, sometimes when a climb comes into a fast circuit, it actually gives the flatlanders sometimes an opportunity to just relax if the climbers are not hitting it too hard. So we'll see here very, very soon if the climbers will hit this climb and try to get rid of some of the fast guys. If they don't, they're just playing into the hands of the fast guys. So time will tell. But I like that we have a circuit race again, and I also like that there's a hill in it, because it's not going to be just this super fast attacking race. So you got to use your brain here today, and it looks like already they are attacking on this 10% gradient.
Yeah, a couple of newer racers, actually. We are seeing all two. Okay, I'm going to leave that one around. The Walrus here, Mr. Draft here. Appreciate the name there. And Herman right along with Tesselius here up toward the front. Alvesberg is now going for the Vikings team out of Norway. Walk lit there with Matt Johnson. ODZ is in the house here. And it looks like McDonald here trying to hang on right along with Hansen here. We do have Debski here from Team Poland with D Pinto from PTZ now as well. And Iwanski from Team Poland is trying to hang on. Now, this climb looks like it is going to cause some separation, that's for sure. They are definitely on the full-on attack here. 9% gradient right now, and people are dropping like flies. David Sorman, one of the leaders in the series actually here. I'm going to take a look real quick and see. This looks like he's right on the back of the elastic here. This is the moment, I think, of truth a little bit for his race right now. A little bit of a drop out there for a moment. 6.2 watts per kilogram. Thrun's coming through out of Germany, it looks like, for the B category. Sorman might be losing the front of this race. He does have one win, second place to his name as well. 3 races in, 55 points. P.A. Pearson is in there as well. And it looks like with 87 points and 3 wins underneath his belt, it will be up to Sorman here to try and take down Pearson. But I believe Pearson has not shown. Oh, no, we do have him here. So here's Pearson actually trying to chase down second place in the categories. We look forward here, though. It looks like about 7 seconds up now, as Thrun and Sorman here, along with Lyson, are looking to get away, try and hold on to some of the A category riders here before they take this right-hand turn into the jungle circuit here. And this is going to be the initial break we've been talking about. And a lot of times, if you can hang on through a section like that, though, it can cause it can get you a huge advantage. Here's the right hand turn into the level 10 only section, or by jumping into one of these events you can jump into the jungle circuit here. And so as they take that right hand turn here, the attacks continue, and it looks like Herman is just being relentless at the front end of this race actually right now. Non-stop attacks coming from him, 156 beats per minute right now. And Soren Bay there from Team Experimental, kind of give him a little bit of breathing room. I think he's gonna, the climb's gonna head into here in a second. I think he's most likely trusting that the rest of this group's going to bring Herman in pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think we have about 14 guys that's just a couple seconds, maybe even 1 second behind our leader. And he's obviously feeling really good today, Herman. Looks like he's sporting the German flag. So out of Germany is definitely warmed up. You know, I was kind of snooping around earlier, Nathan, in another race and noticed some of the riders that usually do this race out on the, what is it, what was the other race that's going on? The maybe it was a ZHR, maybe it was a Masters race. There was something going on, but it was a lot of riders, and they were riding for about an hour and 45 minutes when I jumped in. So some of those guys are actually in this group, so they're nice and warmed up. I reckon if Herman was in that group and he's nice and fueled and ready to go.
Whew. So maybe, you know, I used to do back-to-back races like that on Zwift actually a lot in order to get the high intensity as well as the motivation to continue going. I mean, when you're in a race and that competitive spirit starts to come out and you need to hang on to that wheel, it's extremely motivating. Next thing you know, an hour and a half has gone by and you didn't even notice. Like it's just gone, and you did an intensity level. There's no way you would have ever held at all on that indoor trainer staring at the wall. But because you're chasing these pixels, these other people from all over the world, for those of you maybe unfamiliar, these are actual real people powering these avatars right now, pushing them forward. And as you can see, 290 watts from Soren Bay coming out of Denmark right now. You know, this is it's definitely revolutionary here, as you can see. And look at all the Trombites. So speaking of revolutionary, that's a lot of revolutions uphill. Like, what is the combined what is the combined climbing between the Tron bikes in game right now that we're looking at? Well, in game overall is insane, but in just this race right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Tron bikes at least. We're looking at, I believe it is about 300,000 meters of climbing. Meters of climbing. That, I mean,
not feet, meters. Insane. Yeah, that's a lot.
No, that's a ton. That's like 650,000 feet of climbing or something like that. It's a lot of commitment.
I have some Strava segments within my club, or competitions within my club. Every week we do who rode the most miles, who climbed the most feet. We had this one guy from our club. He climbed 13,000 feet this week. He did this one climb outside of Malibu called Topanga Canyon 3 times in one day. And everybody's just like, Enos, why? People average about 4,000, 6,000 a week. He did 13,000, absolutely crushed everyone within our club. So no one's going to ever touch that in a long time.
So there was a recent announcement, actually, speaking of Strava and clubs and some of this other stuff. So virtual miles allowed towards some partner events. Now, I think there's some confusion about partner events and Strava events and like how that works. And so, because there's a little bit of heat about that. Like people are like, oh, virtual miles, not real miles and all this stuff. And first of all, when I'm out on that smart trainer hammered away climbing, I definitely feel like I am getting some real miles, the real climbing for sure. But at the same time, I do understand I'm losing the fan view here just for a second here. We'll see if we can bring them back. I do still have the other feed here that we can jump on over to, but the events, though, the partner events, so partners with Strava can allow people to participate in their event on Strava through virtual miles now, actually, which is really cool because a lot of people around the world wouldn't have the opportunity actually to participate in an event, maybe because of whatever the circumstances may be. You're working all day. It's super dark out at night. You don't have time to complete this, or it's ice. By me right now, It's essentially, I mean, we are buried in snow right now. Literally half of the things
Wow.
I own are buried in snow right now. I mean, it's
Wow.
insane snowstorm coming through. And so I think the addition of virtual mouse is actually really a cool opportunity for partners to include actually.
No, I agree. It's definitely between Zwift and what we're doing here in Long Beach and our platform in Strava. I think it's a good marriage. I like the idea of combining the two and allowing the virtual miles to count. And for people who say they're not real miles, like you mentioned, well, you're on a climb, and you're doing the Three Sisters or something like that, or you're doing Leaf Hill. I mean, it's a significant climb. You feel it if you're going hard and you're going for it as if you're on the real world. You're definitely gonna feel it. And I actually think we go a little harder within the game because we just have less distractions, right? You're not worrying about a car buzzing by you or glass in the road and stuff like that. You can really just focus on your effort. So I know when I do climbs in Zwift, it definitely hurts just as if I was in the real world.
Yeah, that's for sure. We were talking a little bit about the benefits of the efforts out on Zwift, and man, I definitely had, like I would say before, from these races, I would come into the season with a new level of psychological suffering that I could
Yeah,
handle, and didn't
yeah,
realize how
absolutely.
deep I could dig. We actually had somebody on Zwiftcast on that topic. Actually, I didn't, but Simon did. Had a guest on Zwiftcast, a sports psychologist who was essentially saying that the interactions with the avatars had a certain response actually in us that was almost a new level of stimulus that would cause us to push that much harder, that the responses that we would get from the
Mm,
game were as significant as the fight or flights that we would get in the real
sure.
race situation actually, and having that available to you readily daily every 5 minutes essentially because there's always a race going off, it seems like,
Yeah,
is
always.
quite the tool there. So
Yeah, I mean,
toward the
I hopped
frontier,
on
oh, go ahead,
yesterday just
Hassan.
for I was gonna say I hopped on just for, a quick spin yesterday and I saw one of those one lap WBR races and you just hop in, it's 15 minutes. It was a good 15-minute effort and I was able to get, 45 minutes on a trainer real quick while I'm at work. So that was pretty fun. Like you said, there's so many races going on and big group rides and organized workouts. You could always get some quality training in.
Well, it looks like the racers are going to be getting some quality training here on their first lap right now uh of the jungle circuit. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle this here. We do have a group here, it looks like lead group of about, I would say maybe 12 riders or so, 15 riders or so. I'll check out zwiftpower.com, make sure that it can give me see what it has to say about who is standing where in the race right now. If you guys haven't checked out zwiftpower.com yet, you can check out live results of the race as they go on, as well as all the results from all the races and group rides that they do track over there. So on zwiftpower.com. So looking through it, looks like we have, they have not hit the checkpoint actually yet. So we do not have any information just yet as they come through the jungle circuit here, but we do have up toward the front, it looks like Herman here on the attack actually, as they leave the um the cave section here out on the jungle circuit mine course right now. Let's go ahead and bring some of the noises actually in from Zwift. It's been a little bit quiet out there for the race so far, and it'll be cool to have some of these mine course uh race. This is a newer course here. It'd be kind of cool to bring some of that in here, see what the what what this new section out on course has to offer here. But if we get this top view here from the helicopter, what are those lights actually out on? Those are actually fireflies. I think this is the only section out
Ah.
on Zwift that has those fireflies. I don't think you can find those anywhere else actually.
Yeah, I
um
had no idea.
yeah, so I mean we've got a ton of new scenery actually out here. As you do see the waterfall out off in the distance there, the ruins on the right and the left as they do hit up some of this dust. It does get pretty dusty out there though, as the racers do go around on the circuit here, and that does give some opportunity to try and walk away from the other riders actually, as they make their way out on around on course here, and we do lose them. Now I keep on having a couple of dropouts here. We'll see if I can jump back in. What I'm going to do, you guys, while we try to jump back in here, I am stuck in the pens here for both of my feeds here. So we're going to hang out with Lindsay for just a moment here at the start finish line. But I'm going to log back in over on my main feed and see if we can bring back the race. I am using the mobile app as well, but all the riders have disappeared for me on the mobile app.
Yeah,
so
same on this side.
Oh, really? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, this may not have anything actually to do with the fan view issue we've had in the past. The Zwift servers. I'm going to check out Zwift servers here real quick. Zwift server status here real quick just to see where things are at. Status.com or status.zwift.com if you ever want to check out how the servers are. It does say operational, so on all of them. So it doesn't look like we have any incidents at this point. So maybe just something on our end at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and log in, see if we can find some of the riders. So I do have Quentin LaFay, I believe, is out on course as well as Caleb McDonald. Caleb is gonna help us out here. I'm gonna push ride with Caleb, and he is getting us back onto the course, I hope, for the race. My avatar will jump right on in there and hopefully start riding with Caleb, as there he is with the rest of the racers actually. So we were able to grab back onto the front of this race as they are still climbing toward the rope bridge. You done this course a lot, Rasan?
I have not. I usually stick to the same old courses. I'm a boring guy, man. I actually love the Richmond loop. If I'm not doing Richmond, I'm somewhere in London and doing a circuit which I can get at least 1,200 feet of climbing. And then my last but not least resort when I hop on Zwift is hopping in some sort of race. Typically has been the WBR, 4-lap flat race. Until I conquer that, I am not doing a race with a hill in it.
WBR 4-lap flat. It's quite the quick racing type.
Yeah.
Course there, it sounds like there. So looking through some of the comments here coming through from Facebook. Good to have everybody tuning in, as well as on Twitter. If you do want to interact with us directly during the broadcast, as we have the racers here climbing out of the jungle. They just crossed the bridge there. No breakups just yet, but if you want to interact with us, cheer on your favorite racers. Let us know what your Zwift setup looks like. It looks like the current Zwift setup for Mr. Johnny Noblet here is have been driving all day long across country, but stopped off to watch at Z Community Live. Good to see you there, hanging out in the car and watching the race. And tell Mike Davis to put some hitch in his giddy up. Let's Zwift. Coming through here. A couple more Wahoo Hill in the races. And love that pink Trek also coming on through here. So lots of comments actually coming through from Facebook. So good to have all you guys and gals tuning in over there. And it looks like the riders here not really having too many attacks just yet. But Herman here actually getting maybe a little bit tired of sticking Grupo Compacto here. And this is actually, we had talked about this section, specifically this section of course, a lot. This downhill has so much dust and so many corners, you can get out of sight, out of mind, and cause some serious mayhem around these corners. And it looks like there may even be some speed up factors around some of the corners as well here with the way that the riders dip and turn. I wonder if you do slow down at all through some of these corners on the downhills.
That'd be amazing to have someone get away actually through the dust and fog of the jungle. That's such a good story to say. Yeah, I attacked and they ate my dust. They could not see me.
It looks like it's working here, Rasan.
Yeah,
I mean, 6 seconds now. Rodriguez, Herman as well, working together now at this point. And it looks like Davis here trying to chase it down. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do so, though. Debsky here, Johnson, Wallstrom, I think they're going to let these boys go. Doesn't look like they're super interested in bringing these attacks back.
You can't let Herman go. He showed that he's been riding hard from the start, so he's feeling good. Herman is he could be the one to beat today if they don't bring these two guys back immediately.
Yeah, here Rodriguez coming out of Spain there, right along with Herman riding for Vision out of Germany. But real quickly, we do want to check SwiftPower.com not coming through with any live results just yet. Now, I wonder if they do not have watchers out on the jungle circuit. That'll be interesting to see if perhaps we won't get too many details from the jungle circuit until they cross the finish line. Maybe we'll have to wait and see here. A couple more comments coming on through here. Scott Cunningham saying, I've never done a race up to the jungle circuit because this climb looks so brutal. It is intense start. And each time around, you got to climb for about 4 minutes. And, you know, sometimes the shorter efforts are the more difficult ones because there's that much more. Like, it's not more difficult in the sense that you're suffering for longer, but the amount of pain that's put into a shorter amount of time can be so much more. The attacks can be so much more intense.
100%. You know, I personally like the shorter, harder climbs. The ones that are a little longer and sustained, like today, 4 minutes will be probably a little bit too much for me. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, a lot of the flatlanders and guys who have a tremendous amount of power will benefit from the short, punchier climbs. And then the ones that you have to settle in and pick a gear and kind of rotate through a couple gears, we usually suck at those just because those are the diesel engines. Those are the guys who can climb for 10, 15 minutes. And yeah, it's not good for us.
It looks like these are a couple of the diesel engines. A little bit more, it is a little more punchy than a pure climbers course like we saw in Leith Hill over on the London course, but the riders here toward the front of this race have definitely shown that they can pull some watts per kilo up on the top of a 4 minute climb here. They are starting to catch a couple of the riders here on course, and we're going to see if Debsky here from Team Poland still sitting in strong. Alvesberg, Hansen, 127 beats per minute. So the downhill was definitely used by some of these riders to give a full-on rest. 2 laps to go, I believe, out on the circuit here. It's a total of 3 laps, and they are going to be racing today for, let's just double check our mileage here real quickly, and total of 36K, so we are looking a little bit over 20 miles, probably about 22 miles or so. So they are a little over halfway through, and it is going to be 2 more laps out on this circuit. They will be exiting this underground cave here and then going through the lap slash finish line. Herman again on the front here, only 136 beats per minute though. I believe Herman on his Zada profile, though, we'll give him a ride on. Solid effort out there. He does not have a Zada approval badge. In every race he jumps into, he shows he has elite level, pro level numbers actually, and so because of that he has to send in some strain gauge power meter files so that they can be verified with what he can produce in real life. So because of that, race organizers currently with SwiftPower.com, in conjunction with Zada's efforts at the front ends of the A races, will be relegating him as a rider. He still is able to jump in, have an amazing workout, and push it with the other riders out there today, and really have a, you know, get. The other thing, I almost enjoyed it when I would get whooped on by riders who were really strong, or maybe with a little bit of a calibration issue. I used to jump into a 100-kilometer race every Saturday night going into the season, and there were a couple robots, I'd call them, out there, and I was always like, you know, if Terminator shows up and I got to try and just hang on. The Terminator,
Yeah.
I turn into the Terminator. I turn into a robot, dude, because I've got to do what that guy was doing. And not saying that Herman is. Herman, I know in real life, is a very strong rider. On the other hand of it, though, too, very strong riders with a little bit of miscalibration become insane riders. So, I mean, there is that reality. Yeah, they become the Terminator. Exactly. So
if Herman was to win today, will he get points? Will he take points away from the competitors that are verified?
No, the relegation will take that into account. And then if he does get his auto approval, he can get reinstated, and all the points will be reinstated as well. But he has to get this auto approval. Currently for Herman right now, from what I understand, it's winter in Germany, and it's very difficult to get outside and do a strain gauge power meter test and send those files in currently. So, but he gets to get out there and do some racing. He's getting an amazing workout in. I know he's a younger rider as well. I believe maybe a U23. I have to double check there on the past results for him.
These guys are in trouble if he's under 23. They're in trouble. The youth are taking over. I'm telling you that right now.
They're taking over. You were able to meet actually one of the U23 riders actually for Zwift Academy recently, weren't you? Ollie Jones.
Ollie Jones, great talent. I mean, we all know that he's talented, but then you see it in person. He did one of the Zwift races when we were in Adelaide for Tour Down Under, and once he went over the bridge on Waitopia to go up the climb that we use for the KOM and QOM, he averaged like 850 watts for a good 2 minutes, and it was just like, this is not fair. Yeah, I mean, he just literally blew the doors off of everyone that was around him, and was able to hold that. But yeah, it's just amazing to see a guy who has little cycling experience. He comes from inline skating, and it just translates right over to the bike. You look at him, he doesn't look like a bike rider whatsoever. He's got wide hips, he walks kind of bow-legged, and then he gets on a bike and he looks exactly like a bike racer. You would want a bike racer to look, and he just has tremendous power. He's very green. So yeah, Team Dimension Data, I think, just fell in love with him because he's so green and they can teach him so much. He has, you know, his ceiling is so high right now. So yeah,
that's
we'll
quite
be
the
looking
testament.
out for him, and it is. It's pretty amazing. And Zwift, we have some footage we haven't released yet, but Zwift, I did an interview with him, and he said some things that may blow your mind about what he feels about Zwift and why he uses it and how much he uses it. So yeah, look out for that pretty soon.
We'll definitely be interested in checking that out. Now, we are seeing Herman off the front here, 3.8 watts per kilogram. They've allowed him to get away. Now, some of these riders will be watching zippower.com, and he does have the relegation on his name I am looking at here, but still getting an amazing workout here, 385 watts currently. We're going to keep on following along with the rest of the racers, though, that are chasing him. And we are seeing, what is this name? This girl can suffer. I think is what she's getting at here. Suffolk, and good to see her out there suffering. Good job to her. It looks like E. Brinkley, and I wonder if she is the leading woman out on course right now. I'm going to double check and see. Actually, no, Susan Nystrand. And we're going to see if there's any other women out on course here hammering away. It looks like Susan Nystrand will be the first woman out on course, first place currently. I believe Brinkley may be sitting in third or fourth. I am seeing Tove Langseth as well coming out of Sweden. Then it will be Vanda Cave Aurora coming out of France. Ryan from Merkia. We do see Emma Brinkley then in the D category. That's who we're looking at right now. Hashtag this girl can suffer. Loving the hashtag there. And it looks like last race or ride she did actually the Scott Lagasse ride actually, which is pretty cool. Charity event that we actually live streamed. She's also done some workout Wednesdays. It looks like Brinkley tunes in for a few of our broadcasts from what I'm seeing, the rides that she does. So good to see Brinkley out on course hammering away right now. sitting, I believe, about 4th place or so, as she gets chased down by N Pulse and see if she can grab onto that wheel as they go by. So Rodriguez, though, in the lead of the men's race. Now they're about to start their final lap out on the jungle circuit. Looks like there hasn't been too much, the only breakup on this lead group has been on the downhill. That is really interesting. Like, I don't know, I don't want to like pat myself on the back, but I kind of like, it's interesting that they're actually using these little punch. I mean, it's a little 1% climb, a corner, some dust. This section is really a racer's type section. So many turns, so many different changes in the speed, I think, as well, is causing the racers to really want to use this section of course to try and get away.
Yeah, it could be the only section that they feel comfortable actually digging deep without putting themselves into a hole. I mean, you talk about that climb, as soon as they hit it is 8, 9, 10%. I think maybe it maxes out at 11%. But you have to be careful there. An effort there, and you don't get away and be able to maintain that effort, you're now putting yourself into a hole and becoming very vulnerable, I would say, because someone else can attack over the top. So that effort turns into a really bad effort for you. So oftentimes we'll use certain parts of the course that are comfortable, that we can continue to push hard, just in case we do, go into the hurt locker, as I call it. You can at least get back on. Because once you go anaerobic on the climb, your day's over.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of caution there. That's actually a really good point, and that this section of the course is the only place that they really feel comfortable digging a little bit there, because they do have the group to work with. So there's a couple questions coming through, actually. Any aero advantage with a helmet? That's a really good question, actually. I do not believe there is. Now, we did have a little bit of a conversation about this with Eric Schlange, actually, from Zwift Insider. He's done a lot of tests with avatars out on course, not on the live course, but he uses a program that causes the avatar to put out a consistent wattage on certain courses, times each one of the bikes for that course to see what the fastest bike is. The fastest bike currently that is available in-game is the Tron bike that you see a lot of these riders on. Takes a lot of riding, a lot of uphill riding to earn that, about 50,000 meters of climbing once you've accepted the challenge for the Tron bike. The riders here, though, some of them also using the Cervelo S5, which is the next fastest bike. The absolute official fastest bike, though, is the beta setup with the S5 and the full disc in the back, but that full disc wheel was only available in the beta with Zwift, actually. But hang tough, Mike Davis. It's got somebody saying they're having multiple dropouts, he says, so we'll see if we can hang on. I'm seeing from another, I believe that is Davis coming through. Another comment here. I wonder who are on smart trainers that really felt that hill and intensity versus guys just on regular trainers. There is a little bit of a conversation to have around that. When I used my Power Tap hub on a traditional trainer or dumb trainer, there was the reality, though, that I still had to put out the raw power. And I felt that the force generated from feeling the climb gave me an advantage in my power output, actually. That because the trainer pushed back on me, I was able to push more wattage into. So like when you go to do a climb, when you want to do a 20-minute power test, do you want a downhill? Do you want a flat? No. Or do you want to climb? You want to climb because you know you're going to produce your best power on that climb because you have force pushing back against you. So in a racing situation, I'm kind of of the opinion a little bit that a smart trainer on the uphills gives you a little bit of an advantage, actually, by giving you extra force in the pedals to push against. But power is power. If you got good calibration, lifting 50 pounds is lifting 50 pounds, putting out 50 watts. It's a measurable, it is an actual objective measurement. The same as a teaspoon's a teaspoon, a kilometer's a kilometer, a watt's a watt. And if it's calibrated, it doesn't matter if you have force against it or not. You still have to produce the same amount of power from your legs, actually. And so regardless of whether or not there's a smart trainer there, they're feeling the wattage that they got to put out. Always a comment that tends to come through a lot, because I think there's confusion about what power actually is in a watt, and how it's produced on the bike. And, you know, they might be putting out more watts because of the force that they're feeling. So, yeah, they're working harder because of that smart trainer, but that's because they're putting out more watts. Rasan, what's your feeling on all that? I mean, that's obviously just my opinion. Well, I think there's some objective information in that I am sharing, but there is also a little bit of bias in there maybe from there as well.
To be honest, I had no idea. I thought you had to use a smart trainer to do these Zwift races. I had no idea that you could continue to use, as we call, a dumb trainer with your power meter and cadence and heart rate. But I totally get what you're saying about having the push back, which allows you to push forward even more. I never even thought about it, but I think I would side with you and say having the smart trainer give you that resistance will help you push forward. It's almost the same scenario with when you have the Terminator guy in your race. It pushes you to become the Terminator. You know what I mean?
Herminator.
So that smart trainer.
Herminator.
Yeah, the Herminator.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. And I had no idea. So every time I get on here with you, I feel like I'm learning a lot more about Zwift and the Zwift community and all these different events.
There are also some things I think that we learn about racing that we wouldn't have had outside of such a controlled environment. You can see all of the wattage. You can see the heart rates. You can see your own heart rate. You can see your own wattage in relation to the other riders. As riders are starting their bell lap, they're on the final lap actually here, 19.2 miles in. Soren Bay here trying to make the attack on the uphill actually. Davis here following along. Now the action's really going to start heating up here. We're going to see some attacks go, and it looks like Davis with another dropout here. Debsky as well. McDonald, Avelsberg, things no longer as calm, so no longer it looks like able to just sit in on this climb. 186 beats per minute here coming from Hansen. But, I think because of their ability to look around at the other riders, see what they're doing in those moments, follow those efforts, watch your own efforts so closely. Mm-hmm. In any race situation, outside, you're not going to see your watts per kilogram. You're not going to, well, maybe a triathlete will. I'm going to give that to the triathletes. Yeah. A triathlete or some sort of time trialist, they're going to be able to see these. They're going to have all 8 screens on their Garmin completely organized. Absolutely. To know exactly what they're doing. Know it. But you're not going to be able to see it in relation, though, to the other riders in real time and watch their avatars move back and forth in a pack in the same way that you see here. So that controlled environment, I think, gives another level of psychology to your ability to push and to learn, I think, about what the efforts, though, you and the other riders can handle around you. So we are seeing here, it looks like the rider's coming by my avatar actually now as it just sits on the side of the road, along with me just sitting here commentating rather than racing. But Johnson here now, last ditch attack here before this is just about 500 meters from the rope bridge. This is a winning move perhaps here. 7.6 watts per kilogram coming from the ODZ rider. McDonald here trying to follow that up now. Looking at the current series standings actually for the A category. Matt Johnson, 7th overall, 2 races in. He's got a 3rd, and I'm not sure what the other result is. 23 points. Carl Teselius here, 4 races in. This is a threat, actually, because it's going to be a best of 12 situation. And Teselius here having to follow this here. He's got nothing but podiums, well, almost all podiums here. Benoit Rocketat not in the race, actually, taking the week off. Tom Grimshaw not there. 40 not there. Davis, Vidar, Johnson. Is Podsline in there? I'm not seeing Podsline either. I haven't seen
Podsline. No,
so I think this situation, we're going to see a major some shuffling around, some major shuffling around actually in this series. Actually, if Johnson's able to stay away, if Vidar gets a solid effort in here, Davis able to hang in for WBR here. Looks like for the race WBR team trying to chase down Matt Johnson because he is trying to steal the day and the points now, getting away from the other riders. 5 seconds on a downhill, Rasan.
Yep.
Tough situation.
Yeah, you know who has the most to gain here, in my opinion, is Tiselius. He's not up by a lot of points, and Rockadot Grimshaw 40 is missing. He could really put his stamp of approval on the overall here by getting a win and getting the maximum points. And yeah, Mike Davis may leapfrog if he can get crack a top 3 or something like that. But Tiselius could really bump up his gap by winning this race today. So I think he has the most to gain and the most to lose.
Look at just as you're saying that, actually, he attacks on the front, trying to pull Johnson back in. He's all in. You can see it.
Yeah.
5.4, 6 watts per kilogram. He went 8 watts per kilogram through the bridge, gained that 5 seconds here. From that point, it's about a 4-minute effort. It's about 4 minutes or so. Everything you got, 4 to 5 minutes-ish to the... Oh my gosh, look at the pack around every corner. He's trying to kick up as much dust as he can, but Rodriguez going to be dragging the rest. Here's the thing about the downhill too. You can kick into the orange numbers, but the riders are going to just stick to your wheel. It's so difficult to create an attack on these downhills like this that will actually get away from the rider that's on your wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's at a disadvantage right now. They are chasing. They were up in the upwards of 400 watts. I'm not sure who we're following now, but he's dropped down to 300 watts. He was over 450 for a while, but still going good. 36 miles an hour, heart rate looking pretty good, but it's all over. They're
it's
right
over.
On him. That's a big effort. That's a big effort.
Goodness.
4 minutes.
Huge
that
effort.
Group is a massive effort. But hey, who knows? Maybe he just settled back a little bit, and Matt may throw another one.
He does have a solid sprint, but look at this. As the group does catch him, he has to get up and out of the saddle. And we do
watch
see
his heart rate.
The finish light coming 160 beats per minute. See if he can calm down here. Bring that back in. Pierre Avelsberg. Watch out for Tiselius. Now, a counterattack from Tiselius. 6.5 watts per kilogram. Hansen sees this as a threat. Goes right along with him. Is Jay Hansen in the series, actually. Looking through here. I'm not seeing Hansen looking maybe just to jump in and grab some points actually from the rest of the riders now. And Tiselius here, Hansen, Avelsberg currently sitting in 6th overall. The Viking rides for the Vikings team. They're using this Tour of California, Amgen Tour of California kit here. Never count Avelsberg out in the sprint here. Watch out for the Viking to have some big watts. He's really rested up. Look at this, 138 beats per minute, playing this really smart.
Nice.
Now, we're about 1K out at this point. Somebody could go full on from right here and just try and hang on. It would be an all-out VO2 max effort, actually. And Avelsberg, just as I say it, comes right on through 6.3 watts per kilogram. Maybe just trying to... looks like he's trying to coax out an effort.
That's still such a difficult effort, to go out at 1,000 meters to go. I reckon you would have to do 650 to 700 watts.
Oh my goodness, 1,500 watts!
Wow.
What is this? Tiselius Hansen. Early kick here coming from the riders now as Tiselius out of Sweden just demolishes the field there and comes across the line. First place coming from Tiselius there. Hansen follows it up. I'm not sure who the next rider was across the line. Let's go ahead and check here real quick as we saw the replay that comes on through here. Tiselius, we saw it up in the 15 of 26 there. 165 beats per minute. That is insane sprint here. Hansen there, next one to come across the line as you can see. And it looks like it's going to be Hansen. Avelsberg, I think, going to just hang on. Davis there going to be taking 4th place, I believe. just behind the Viking there. And then Bay followed up by Johnson. The early attack from Johnson maybe taking a little bit out of the legs there for the rider now. Now I'm going to see if we can find a few of the other riders here, little ways back on course. Not sure we're going to be able to do so though. We are seeing C. McCoy here. Now coming out of the Netherlands, 8.1 miles in. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little turnaround, and we do see Lewandowski. Not sure he's part of the SZR series, actually. I've never seen this many people out on course. There's almost...
Everyone wanted to do the new loop.
We're about to break 8,000. Have we seen
nice.
We're at 79.63. I'm not sure I've ever seen. We're almost breaking 8,000 right now. That is huge. Wow. That is quite. That is quite the situation here for Zwift actually at this moment. If we're about to break records, I'm not sure though what the current record is, but I haven't seen close to 8,000 though. I don't think yet this year. That's huge. Nope.
I don't think so. Yeah, that is huge. Just goes to show you that the word is getting out. People are starting to realize Zwift is a great tool, and I think more and more people are going to be using it sooner than later. I always like to compare to, remember when we had dial-up internet, and then we finally got like Ethernet. Some people was like, "No, I'm not letting go. Dial-up works. It's only $29.99." And then the BlackBerry phones and iPhone, it's the same. It's like, just let it go. Embrace it. It's a good thing.
Davis is saying, great commentary. Like always, guys. I had so many dropouts. OMG. Great race. Sorry to hear about the dropouts there, Davis. And hopefully we can get that ANT plus connecting better for you there. But yes, go SGR coming from Stefan Helm, cheering on his teammates there. We are seeing here serious power wow coming from Rob Stinnett there, and that's why he's the current series leader. Actually, we do see Quentin Lefay about to finish up his race. Looks like on the downhill here, coming into the final few kilometers actually, with I think one of the main chase groups actually, 146 beats per minute right now. Moving forward here a little bit, we'll see if we can find the front end. I think the front of the B category though is probably already coming across the finish line. I'm just going to double check the current results for the day here and see if we do have anybody for the B category across the line just yet. So Johannes did get across the line first. Only 4 seconds up, actually, as the riders almost caught him. But it will be Carl Teselius from seeing here. Did a solid, wow, did a huge amount of wattage, actually. Looked like for the average there, 403, 4.75 watts per kilogram here. Jacob Hansen there for second place. Pierre Vidar Avelsberg, Mike Davis there, then Soren Bay. Gilberto, looks like Rodriguez for 7th, Matt Johnson for 8th, then Daniel Pinto, and then Les Jeffs and Johan Wallstrom rounding out the top 10. Malcolm Walcott, looks like Walcott there for that first place in the B category. Over, 3.7 watts per kilogram, so he will be taking that W though. Now we are seeing here Jeffers here coming on through 8.5 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Quentin Lefay here trying to follow that up. It doesn't look like Quentin's gonna be able to catch him. A little bit mistimed there maybe on his sprint, but Brown here for Cogs just out sprinting, it looks like a couple of the other riders, but Harn I think did get the better of him there with Jepson as well. So solid effort there from all of them. But in the B category, Malcolm Walcott gets across the line first. Joachim Lysen there at 4.3 watts per kilogram gets an upgrade. Ricard Sorman going to be getting an upgrade at 4.3 watts per kilogram as well. So P.A. Pearson 3.6 with Nicolas Legestrand actually there taking down second and third, as we will have a couple of upgrades for Joachim and Ricard. Ricard currently sitting, I believe, in second place overall for the series. Going to be getting an upgrade to the A category though, as P.A. Pearson will be holding on to that top spot, I think, as he did get dropped off from those riders, actually. A couple of these riders up front definitely throwing down solid efforts in that B category. But here's the thing, Malcolm, smart and savvy rider. He went with the A category riders, but averaged 3.7 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race, stayed within category limits. It's really about that, you know, a lot of people say there's no skill in Zwift. I'm not sure about that always, like being able to at least know how to draft. To be a smart racer, there's no skill in handling your bike. There is no skill in handling your bike. There's no bike handling skills. But being smart about when you are using your efforts, and also, you know, we're not using our thumbs here to control these avatars. Your feet, your legs are a controller, though. They're just a different way of communicating that control. And so the ability to hang onto a wheel and communicate that it's not hand-eye coordination, it's leg eye coordination going on here, but coordinating that between what's going on the screen and being able to hold and respond correctly to the riders and what they're doing out there in order to use as the least amount of effort. That's a classic road racing skill.
Yeah, no, you're right, Nathan. You're not using your hands, you're not using your thumbs, but you're right, you're definitely using your head. And a lot that I've learned by racing in these events on Zwift is you're always looking at who's doing what, looking at the watts per kilo. You know, we're lucky we can't see heart rate, you know, unless we're watching, you know, one of the races live or something like that. But, you know, you see a guy attack, you see his watts per kilo, you got to know that he's hurting. Maybe that's a time for you to counter, or maybe it's a time for you to get a quick swig from the bottle because, you know, this group just did a hard effort. You know, so you're constantly thinking. I think on that aspect, it does help your intellectual side, and it also helps when you get in the real world on your bike, if you're in a race or a Grand Fondo, even a fun group ride. You know, the more I've done these Zwift events, the more I start connecting the dots in the real world of when I'm riding, like, oh yeah, I've seen this before, you know. So I think it's good. Every time I talk about Zwift, I kind of find myself repeating the same thing because I'm so excited about it, and it's so many new things that I learn every time I get into the game. So I'm just in love with it. Like I said the other day on one of my social media accounts, I said I'm an addict. I can't lie. I became an addict of Zwift. I just hop on it sometimes just because, with no motives, just to get on and see what's going on.
Right on. Right on. Like right now, like when we log in and watch this race of these virtual avatars of these people all pushing each other from all over the world. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like the guy pulls over on a road trip and he's watching the race live on the side of the road. I knew it was over for me when I find myself lying in my bed with two laptops watching the men's race and the women's race at the same time. and my wife's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, man, Zwift race is on. Shh.
That's so awesome. That is so great. Well, there is some interest, I know, from ZHQ right now in the Crit Series, which we're going to be covering tomorrow. Hargreaves, he's coming on like a freight train, currently 14th overall in that series. And I think I'll be watching out for him for a top 10 spot. He stays, I mean, he's not taking anything less than a third or a second, winning a couple of them. He seems motivated, and that guy's got a kick. So
yeah, he flew in yesterday from the UK, and there's a pretty steep hill out near our office, and he woke up the early morning after only been in town for about 8 hours, went out and crushed the KOM there in Signal Hill. I think the best time was like a 103, and he did like a 58 second up this KOM. So he's definitely feeling good.
Wow. Yeah, I know, just getting back from a training camp and getting serious. So watch out. Definitely feeling good, everybody. I'll be watching out for the live final for Mr. Hargreaves, actually. We did hype him up a little bit, actually, in our racing highlights video we just got out on the European edition. So we are actually seeing a couple more comments here. Sherry Foxworthy coming through saying that earlier she said she's addicted. We got her hooked on these. And great commentary, Nathan and Rasan. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. And looks like rides for Subaru Santa Monica. Is that somebody?
Yeah, so yeah, she's affiliated with Helen Cycles. She works next to Mike Davis, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Sherry is one of the sweetest ladies you would ever meet. Super huge supporter of cycling in our local area. So Martin is actually owned, our Helen's owns Martin, where we were last Thursday. I don't know if you heard this, Nathan. We're going to be back there next Thursday for the same sort of scenario, kind of spice it up a little more. So, yeah, we'll be on the horn with you trying to figure out how we can pull that off again.
Awesome.
Lagrange and everyone else had a great time. We definitely enjoyed it. So we're going to do it again a week from tomorrow. That
was a ton of fun. If you guys haven't seen the broadcast from the West Crit Series, actually, last week, it was really great. The Lagrange women's team was out there live racing on site at Martin. We had Rasan there on the mic coming in with live action. That Reinhardt story was amazing. I was super impressed by her effort, actually. Only 3 races in real life, jumps on and just demolishes it. Gets a top 10 situation amongst some of the fastest racers out on Zwift in the West Series. I mean, that was pretty amazing effort there by Reinhardt, actually.
Yeah, Reinhardt did a great job, and it was funny for her to say, you know, I can lick my elbows, I like tacos, and this is only my 3rd race. So I'm sure she will not fly under the radar in the next event if she so happens to show up. But I'm sure the Lagrange team.
Now, let's just I want to highlight real quickly. Nice job to Jansen there. Followed up by Viking, and it will be.
It's a long race, Nathan. Just at an hour for the C's.
Super long race here. And actually, speaking of long races, I have to double check. I may be going over our allotted time for our broadcast here. Let me just double check and see what time we were supposed to start workout Wednesday. It's going to be starting in 45 minutes, so we're okay. We're okay. We're not over time, but we're over Rasan's time, I think. We've been holding him here for a while now, so we're going to get going.
Only 59 more minutes, and I'll be riding outside for our Wednesday lunch ride. So
there you go.
I have time.
There you go. He's got a little bit of time. But, again, here's the replay from the men's sprint here today. I'm going to also, real quickly, no problem, Matt Johnson. You tried. Man, Matt is in the broadcast right now commenting, saying that I tried, guys. Thanks, guys. ODZ, you represented well for them there, Matt. That attack over the rope bridge was all cards on the... I mean, you put all the chips on the table. You had pocket rockets. You were like, all right, let's go before the turn, before the river. Just threw it down out there. So solid effort out there, Matt, and almost pulled it off. But that group charging hard on a downhill is going to be really difficult to get away from. But you still had a solid sprint, as you can see here. I think you came in still. I think, Matt, I mean, wasn't a bad result. He still came in, I believe, within the top 10, actually. Actually, it looks like, yeah, taken down 7th place on the day. So, solid result there. Real quick here, one last look here at that sprint finish. You do see the riders here. Teselius there. This is the winning move on the day for the men's A category. As you can see here, absolutely hammering. Up in that 15 watts per kilometer. Hansen trying to follow it up. Cannot match. Actually, Hansen did hit 15 watts per kilogram as well, but maybe a little bit too late. As you can see there, Vesalius, Hansen, Avelsberg, Davis, Bay, and then it was Rodriguez followed up by Johnson right behind him there, though, in that final sprint, though. So solid effort there from the riders in that A category. So, all right, that's going to be it from us. That's as much as we can cover with the fan view that we currently have. You know, if we do end up with some awesome broadcast tools, I do hear that there are some works on that, but you know, we might be able to call and mess with the fan view mode a little bit, where we can see A, B, C, and D within the race. Select those, call those riders, click around, find those riders, and then we'll be able to actually do coverage really well for each one of the categories for you. That'd be really cool, so that everybody that is performing well in the races will get their highlight out there. And we used to do a lot more coverage for those races. And that, that's always my our heart in this is to celebrate everybody's amazing effort that they are putting out there, bettering themselves out here through the power of bicycles. Susan Nystrom, I want to give her a shout out, winning the amongst the women, first place amongst overall on the women, and in the C category, getting a solid mid-pack result there. I also want to shout out to Tove Langseth there. Actually put out 3.3 watts per kilogram there, Tove. Time for an upgrade to that B category. Solid effort though, second place amongst the women. Vanda Cave, also for third place, also over category there. So jumping into C category, Vanda Cave, but nice job out there to Vanda Cave. And then it looks like Emma Brinkley jumping over D category. Nice job out there, Emma. And I was told Suffolk is a place in the UK. So thank you, Kim, for giving me information about the land of scones. I'm sorry, I didn't know what was going on with Suffolk there, but and seventh place, well done, Matt Johnson. A lot of encouragement coming through over at the broadcast. Thanks a lot, you guys, for everybody tuning in. You're all awesome. Rasan, thanks a lot for your cool commentary.
Of course, all the time. Always look forward to it. I'm always the first one in the office on Wednesday because I'm so excited to get ready and go. So look forward to the next one.
So we're gonna miss you tomorrow. No,
yeah,
crit series for you tomorrow.
Unless I can convince my wife to come and hang out with me at the office while I do a Zwift live event. I don't know, it's her birthday. So we'll see. Right now I'm going to say no. But maybe if I buy a diamond ring or something, she'll let me sneak away for an hour.
It's between today and tomorrow.
Maybe I can expense it through Zwift.
All right, sounds good. We will then be back tomorrow for the crit series. Workout Wednesday coming at you in just 40 minutes. And make sure to get your water bottles ready and get warmed up. Matt Rose got an amazing workout coming at you here on Zwift Community Live for Workout Wednesday. And that is a group workout event in-game that you can join that will be live coached here through Zwift Community Live as well. So you tune in for live broadcasts, join him in game for the workout as well, live, and get some amazing coaching and amazing workout from Roe and King. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. That's gonna be it from us. And as always, everybody, great job to the riders and racers, and ride on.